And hello, everyone. We're back with more Destiny of the Force. Where we left off, Sidani, Talia, Zura, and Castum, along with Princess Venata, had gone off to the world of Rossaswai for the Floralite Festival, where Sidani and Venata are going to be honored in place of their mother, Jedi Queen Allana, who disappeared many years ago, but they still want to honor her for what what she did for their world. And on the world of Aethys, we're following Sol, Grumblock, and their friends Ray and R8 as they're following the treasure hunter Darren Silvar through ancient dark side ruins, ancient Sith ruins, to be more specific, in search of a vision of a place from a vision Ray had where a crimson armored man was taking control of a gauntlet. And that is where we join in now, as we see through these tomb catacomb-like halls Grumblock's big body just barely managing to fit behind Darren, Sol, and Ray as Scorch rolls alongside. Darren's probe droid, Lucky, a fairly large droid about Scorch's size, floats around alongside, just barely keeping in front of Grumblock. Darren stops every once in a while to check little piles of junk, trying to see if he can find anything to salvage as you're moving through. He doesn't take too long, since he knows you all are in a rush, but you can tell he's trying to make this trip worth something.
After the last time we stopped, Sol just gonna ask, so how much further?
I know the general direction, not the where or the what. Have you seen the size of these ruins?
Yes, they are rather small and cramped.
I think they were imagining you when they built them.
Then they are fools.
Grumblock just nods sagely at that remark. It matters not how long we take, regardless. It is about the journey, not the destination.
I'm rather concerned about the destination, you hear Ray say.
Yes, but the Force showed you that vision. It would not if there was no way for us to intervene.
If you're concerned enough, you can hang by me and Lucky. She kind of gives him a hard look. We're trying to move just slightly ahead.
Sol just comments, and I was like, yes, it always a Jedi's duty to protect those. And just looks at him. Just leave it at those.
He takes the point and just tries to keep up with her slightly faster pace to stay out front. Eventually you emerge into a much larger chamber than the ones you were in before, and you see stretched out before you a long series of almost like a mass grave-like design to a tomb. Several coffin-like structures with statues overhead, probably a well-regarded guard to whomever this tomb belongs to. Most of the actual graves have clearly been torn apart, open, like broken, what have you. But in the middle of the room is a raised platform pedestal where clearly a more important person was buried, and this area looks much more pristine, as if it was protected somehow, but whatever protections it had must have been dispelled or torn away, as standing at the top in stark bright red armor with crimson running through kind of underneath the bright red aspects and throughout, you see a man about 6 feet tall. He has kind of medium length, bit unkempt, blonde hair, kind of messed up a bit, and you see him tearing away at the tomb before him, pulling forth a large metallic thing, what you can presume from this distance to perhaps be the Gauntlet Ray saw.
Soul just yells out, "Grave desecration does not become you."
The individual stops for a moment, and he's still holding the metallic object, very clearly the gauntlet, as he turns to face you. Soul, you would recognize that this armor was probably at one point before being kind of repainted and changed. As you can see, it's much more crimson from the front, and a lot less of the bright red is visible. It appears that this was once Imperial Knight armor, and now you can see some of the black mixed in and such. You would recognize it from obviously having seen them before.
Ah, fellow knight. Your desecration bewilders me even more.
He looks at you sternly, silently, looking at the gauntlet held in his hand, for looking out, and Ray kind of steps forward a bit, and you see her kind of looking around, or saying the obvious of, this is it.
Soul just nods and just sort of whispers, like, stay in the moment, not dwell on the vision.
You see, with Lucky following him, you see Darren trying to jump off to the side, get behind some of the pillars holding up, that are still managing to hold up the room, or what's left of it anyway. Soft, kind of outdoor grayish light does poke through the ceiling, as there's multiple cracks and breaks in it, but overall it's a fairly dark chamber. I must say, I did not expect a Jedi.
We are where we are needed.
Then I can only believe that destiny has put forth its first challenge to me on my way to glory.
You seem misguided, young knight. Perhaps we can converse upon the nature of glory and power.
I shall converse when I have claimed the Empire for my own. Lead its people toward a better future. And you see him removing one of his armored gloves, clearly the one meant for the arm where the gauntlet goes.
Soul sort of speaks up and is like, then you've mistaken your first challenge. The Force has sent you here to not claim power like this, but to learn to lead by an example. To lead with peace.
The Force has led me to great power, and I will harness it.
Then it seems you've already failed on your journey.
It's fate that has brought you to your death, Jedi. And you see him put the gauntlet onto the arm and slowly begin to curl his fingers, and it seems to crackle with a red and like kind of lightning looking energy that goes up his arm, and you see him kind of wince in pain for a moment before clearly adjusting to it.
After seeing that, Soul quickly like, Grimlock, any knowledge of this item would be very helpful right now.
Yes, what do I know of this gauntlet?
One red, 2 purple, 2 setback on the lore.
Do I have time to intense focus, actually?
Yes. Given the conversation. And add a boost again for backstory and years of study. Rough luck today. Alright, so you don't know what it is specifically, but you are almost certain it is a Sith relic imbued with dark side power, and that you should probably be careful because it probably strengthens whatever he already had and may give him more than he once had. So, caution as far as things go.
I implore you, for a final time, young knight, cease these violent actions, and let us converse peacefully.
I will converse with your spirits when they have fallen before me.
Foolish little one. I have lived some 470 years and not died yet.
You see the red lightning kind of continue to come from the gauntlet and rush up his arm, and it's continuing to like snap and break. You could see like it's actually just as it's going up his arm, it's little by little breaking and tearing like the suit and armor away a little bit from his arm until it's, and you can see it kind of almost making the veins in the arm that it's revealing glow. I can feel it. The power to reforge an empire. And I will reforge the empire. But an emperor must be merciful. So I will give you opportunity to step away.
Sure, put that back in its grave and we can walk out together.
A little difficult to hear you. Could you repeat that?
Oh, Soul just says, sure, put that back in its grave and we can walk out together.
Grave. Yes. Yes, this will be your grave. But know that it was Arcos Vane who put you there. Know that when this empire is reforged behind new power, know that if you manage to survive this day, that it was by my mercy. And you see with his right hand, his kind of clean hand, he removes a hilt from his belt and activates a shining bright white blade, the emblematic blade of the Imperial Knights. Unless you have something you wish to do here, we'd be going into initiative.
No, because whatever Soul says, he's just going to throw it back at him in some death quote.
Well, I mean, you could try a check associated. It may not land.
No, I can't think anything that Soul really. He's just sort of waiting for the inevitable at this moment.
Okay.
Correct, little one. It is foolish to converse any longer. Let us draw blades and face down this evil.
Okay. Cool checks all around.
Damn, Soul was really getting ready.
Go Soul.
I mean, you've seen this situation a couple of times before. Like, you know what's happening.
Yeah.
I was drawing my lightsaber when he said the first one-liner. We got a villain, guys. Keep one-lining.
Correct. R8 is just gonna roll over to Darren and the droid. Like he knows where he's not gonna do anything. So they're not gonna have Darren and R8 aren't gonna have initiative. It's just gonna be the three of you and Urkos. So do Ray first. Okay. And Urkos. Okay. Soul, you first.
Okay, if I use my Triumph as maneuver to get closer, how far away is he? After the initiative maneuver?
After the initiative maneuver, you would be at the medium range point where it would still be one maneuver to be at short. So you'll need 2 maneuvers to engage.
Okay, then I'll quick draw my saber, maneuver forward, and then try to hawkback swoop.
Okay. Adversary 3, defense 2.
So it's 13. Actually, I'm gonna, since the second white I can turn to an advantage, I'm gonna turn the advantage into a success with my overcharge and make that 14 breach 2.
Okay. So breach 2 is actually matters for this one, which is hilarious. So okay. Let me make a note here. He will parry some of that.
Yeah, Soul just sort of quick draws and leaps up the stairs as you hear a crash with his overcharged green saber, and see sort of the green lightning sort of coming off of it, mixing with a little bit of the red lightning that's coming off his gauntlet.
And the white light from the saber.
As we like crash into each other.
Okay, so okay. Just getting. So that'll be. So you said 14?
Yeah.
Okay. And you so yeah, as you described it, as you said, that big green lightning flash in mixing with the red lightning and the white blade as he's parrying some of your attack, but not quite all of it, and you slash into his armor, and you see some of the changes to the armor are clearly due to a integrated medical system compared to Imperial Knight armor. And you see him kind of get like a shock to his system almost, and like you can see it kind of react as very clearly as he likely got the benefits of a stim pack from said armor systems.
Is he literally anti-me? He's like, we have so much in common.
Yeah. As he moves in response, it is now his turn. And you see him moving the gauntlet, and you can tell he's like unsure, as if he's unsure if he wants to use the gauntlet yet. Like you can see the hesitation, almost fear in his face, because he doesn't know what it'll do or what it'll take, or if he just wants to use his lightsaber. Finally, he seems to come to a conclusion, and he puts the gauntleted hand near the saber just long enough for red lightning to come off of his hand and go up and across his saber, charging the white saber with a kind of red lightning mirroring yours almost directly. And he swings in toward you with a clash that sends sparks flying and lightning scattering out from your sabers in every direction. Defenses.
So I'm dodging twice on this one. And so it'll be 2 upgrades and a block.
You will of that. And that will be it'll be 17 and one heck of a crit. If he hits.
Okay, so that'll be 11. So that's half my wound threshold, right? Because my stem pack goes off automatically in combat if so I have 6 left over.
Well, yeah, he's taking 17 minus your parry, and then
minus from that. Yeah, I have parry 6.
Okay. And then and I'm gonna have him. What gear do you have on you outside the lightsaber? And the armor, obviously.
I have my utility belt with my military belt patch and the repair patch, and then the blaster pistol. And that's it.
Right. I'm gonna have him. Actually use 3 advantages to gain a defense, and then he will crit with the 4th advantage. So
Okay.
crit plus 10 coming in. What is
No durable or anything that affects it, so
plus 10 then? Here's some wound. That seems appropriate. Yeah, so that the saber clashes with yours and the lightning erupts and you're able to parry some of it, but even as he's swinging around, you're managing to block his saber blows, but not the lightning that just keeps erupting off of the saber every time, shocking you and hitting you. Hey.
yeah. Soul just sort of winces in pain, like as he looks at him, like.
Okay. Ray will activate her lightsaber and run up to help her master because she sees this go on and uh-oh. So she'll run up to help. Sprinting. She does so. Screen. And she will be close. Okay. Grum, what's up for you?
What distance am I from him?
Same as the other 2 were, which is the 3 maneuvers away.
Okay. I know this hasn't gone
to be
very...
clear. So you're medium range right now.
Okay. I know this hasn't gone particularly well for me so far, but I would like to, again, try and force leap as a maneuver.
Okay.
Just to get close enough. Yeah.
Hey! So the ground shakes and moves a little as you leap from it and make this massive bound across the room. You will still need to take a maneuver as well to engage, but you land hard at the top of the stairs, right as Soul gets shocked by another blade hit. Ray is still running up the stairs. And
Now, if I'm at short range, then I would like to try and yank the gauntlet off his hand with move.
oh boy.
Yeah. Let's,
You
let's
can
spend a-
attempt to do that. All right, so it's going to be discipline.
Yeah, I'll do it.
It's discipline versus 3 red, a purple, and 4 setback.
I will take a second maneuver to intense focus.
You didn't take the
Yeah,
second
I
maneuver
took
to get
this.
close. Yep.
No, I'm doing it from short range. And let's spend a point, and here we go. It's actually rolly force dice.
Okay. So, all right. Okay. Okay, so as you yank through the force at the gauntlet, since he hasn't secured the gauntlet yet to his body, you begin to pull it off of his arm. He kind of yells out as he kind of tries to stand his ground firm. And you try to use the force to pull the gauntlet off. You see him slowly trying to unclench his fist and like pull against it, and you see the lightning charge up and crackle around it as you yank it off from his arm. It was struggled against so much and so hard you aren't able to control the direction, and the gauntlet comes sliding off, slamming straight at you, just colliding straight into you with a big shock of lightning erupting and going across your body. So that'll be 10 wounds, and you cannot parry/reflect it. You can soak, obviously, but yeah, 10 wounds.
Okay.
And Soul, you would see Grumblock get knocked backward, and he doesn't fall off the platform, but Grumblock, you are on the edge of the platform. So if you're knocked backward in any way, you will have to grab yourself or take a fall. So the gauntlet, upon hitting you, would then drop and kind of fall and slide a little, still smoking and still crackling with lightning.
If I were to use my immovable feature from being the Wooten, would that affect anything?
As far as
It means so I can avoid being immobilized, being knocked prone,
Yeah.
or being otherwise moved against my will.
You can't stop from being moved in this instance because of how powerful it is, but if something were to try to knock you off the side, then you would use it there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
No, the since you were the one controlling the impact, technically you can't stop it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So, as I yank it out, I'll just yell to Sol and Ray, like, "Now is your chance!"
You'll have to tell me twice.
Sure. Okay, so with that soul, you feel kind of the equivalent of hair standing up on the back of your neck, and it isn't the lightning that's been shocking you. You can feel another presence nearby, one you haven't felt in a while, but one that definitely ingrained itself in your memory. The Revenant is here. You're not sure where, but he is nearby.
The soul just sort of says out loud, "There's another."
And it's your turn.
Well, he's not. The Revenant's on his mind, but he's not currently in this situation, so for a brief second he's sort of soul's thinking elsewhere, but then decides to focus on the task at hand and focus on one enemy at a time and swings at the man in front of him. So
Okay.
what's his defenses?
So it's adversary 3, and it's currently defense 3 due to his boost from hitting you. And yeah.
Custom grip removes 1, and I'm going to use my sense danger to get the other 2.
Okay.
I'll aim. Okay, I'm gonna use all advantages for success. So 16 breach 2.
Okay. All right. You hit him. So yeah, you manage to slash down at him, and he grunts and takes the pain, but he is much more concerned about that gauntlet than the fact that you hit him. What's Soul's discipline?
1 second. It is 2 yellow and a green.
Okay. What?
Interesting.
Oh, I mean, he's still...
This guy's taking all my light side points. Look at him.
He doesn't want them, though. Huh. Well. That's an interesting check. So... we're going to... say that he knocks you back away from him. Down the steps a little bit. So it takes you out of engaged, and he basically puts his hand out using the force, but clearly doesn't succeed at whatever he was attempting to do. You're able to break his concentration on that, but he still knocks you a maneuver, kind of a maneuver away, knocks you backward, disorienting you slightly for a moment. And then he's going to use the triumph to slash down at the kind of the tomb holding platform below you, below the group of you, and it starts to destabilize it and move it around. In the process of doing so, however, as he does that, while it does succeed in destabilizing it for all of you and moving you around, he also sees the gauntlet roll backward and off of the platform, falling down to the ground below and out of his reach. Swearing, he kind of slides backward along the rock, and he will attempt a force leap maneuver to try to jump after it, successfully landing on the ground below near it. The rocky platform is falling, kind of crumbling and falling apart all around you. So Ray, who was not all the way up above, is just going to take a maneuver to jump off of it, and another maneuver free to try to run for the gauntlet. And she gets to it before Arcos does. Grumblock, what are you going to do? So, Grumblock, what are you going to do?
So the gauntlet, it basically fell like right underneath me, right?
Yeah, it fell.
It was...
fell to the bottom of this whole like crypt room floor, and Ray jumped off the stairs and ran for it, and she's closer to it than Arcos. She's basically standing over it. Arcos is running toward it after he successfully leapt down. You are on a platform about to fall, and while you may be immovable, if what you're on moves, that's not going to matter.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's the distance to the gauntlet then?
Since you were the one who pulled it away, it was closer to you. That would be basically medium range from you. It's basically to the ground. So
let's leap down to the ground.
Okay. Right. Yep, and you land successfully, basically slamming right down to the ground. The rocks some of the smaller rocks like exploding and blowing out backward, as you're basically landing right next to where Ray is, right by the gauntlet.
Okay, now this might be a silly idea, but I'd like to pick up the gauntlet.
Yeah, okay. Make a resilience check against 3 red.
Okay. This is fine.
Oh, and you've lived a few centuries. You know when to try things.
Would I get to add my the automatic one, because I'd be making this as an enhanced resilience?
Yeah, I believe you should be able to. Yes.
Good. Need them.
What rolls we're getting today? All right, so you succeed with triumph, so you're able to hold it and potentially disable, like kind of depower it, so to speak, if you want. But you're also going to get shocked by it due to the despair. Which... Luckily that's strain, so you're not going down from doing this. But it's going to be 10 strain rather than the 10 wounds from the impact earlier.
Fine.
But it's reduced by soak, but nothing else. Well, and resolve if you have it, that kind of stuff. But
I didn't.
Oh. Okay, so it's 10 strain.
Taken was the second maneuver to pick it up. So let's take another 6, which puts me at 12.
Yeah. So the lightning's kind of channeling through you, but you can use the triumph to try to kind of depower it, to kind of turn it down.
I will, yes. And then for my action, I'm going to force leap again, just as far away from him as I can.
I was going to say that picking it up was your action because it forced you to make a resilience. In this case, it wasn't a reaction.
Well,
So.
then I will use a second maneuver to force leap away again.
Okay, since you took the strain already, yeah. Okay. All right. Time to do so. Okay. So with that, you Hulk leap away to, I assume, away from him, basically.
Yes. Ideally, the way we came.
Okay.
And preferably to a stable platform.
Well, the ground is stable, yeah. It's just the platform above you that's falling. Okay. A platform that Soul is still on. And yeah, so as we reach the end of the round, coming through the opening in the top is the Revenant and Carrie. And they see a lot going on there, but the Revenant is focused on one thing, and Carrie's focused on something else. But as the two leap in, we will cut away back to the world of Rossaswai. To the Floralite Festival. To Sidani, having just finished dancing rather exotically with Safra, the rogue performer.
As one does. Sidani takes a bow before the gathered audience.
Yeah. Well, after you took your bows, you would be off away from the dancing areas. They're restructuring it for another event later. You would find Venata and Zura. Venata would be done having eaten her little snack, I imagine. Zura's probably still working on hers. Yeah, you would see the two of them. Custom, if you'd like to re-emerge to be with them, you can.
Yes, especially to get away from the god-awful amounts of perfume.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys would see Custom sort of doing the equivalent for him of coughing and like as he's getting back over to you guys.
Just trying to wipe off his arms. Because that's where some of his sensory stuff is.
Yeah. So, okay.
So
I don't-
did you have a good time?
Always. How's the food here?
Very
Pretty
sweet.
Yes, we didn't have candy where I came from, and I can see the appeal.
Vanada hands off a little flower-shaped treat to Sid and says, "Don't swallow it all at once."
I'll try not to. Instead, we'll start peeling the wrapper and stuff like that.
No wrapper, but yeah.
Well, okay. Then she just eyes it and starts nibbling to taste it, and slowly and slowly the bites get bigger and bigger. She's clearly enjoying it.
Right. So, yeah. So, if Talia, if you are wandering back after your encounter with Gideon, that's where you would find everyone else.
Well, I'm glad to see you're all enjoying yourselves.
That's what a festival's for.
Normally, I would agree with you.
Sid kind of laughs a brow. Normally?
Vanada, does the name Gideon or Ghana mean anything to you?
Her brows furrow. Morgana, yes. Gideon, no.
Interesting. I just met someone by that very name and quite critical of art. Maybe something for the archives when we get back to Ossus.
I wasn't aware of any surviving Morganas. Technically, she looks at Sid. It's by adoption, but we're it.
Sid just
Well-
has a blank look on her face.
If
She doesn't
he's
know
to-
this.
Yeah.
And
If
she
he's to be
just
believed, anyway.
Vanada would just look at Sid and go, "You know how I was core? Up a few generations, someone was Organa."
Gotcha. She just kind of nods, probably with a mouthful of candy.
There
He
shouldn't be
seemed
anyone.
apathetic to the name, to be fair, but
Was he a noble? Was he what was he?
he looked noble, very well dressed, at least an officer's uniform, though without the insignias or anything related. It said he was from a military family, and that, well, we ruined that more or less, and that he didn't hold any connections to that family anymore.
He
I
ruined?
really wasn't sure what to make of him.
I mean, the sky. Then you just see Vanada kind of staring at him. I mean, the Skywalkers.
Clearly. Down to guessing my grandmother by my hair.
that she looks at Donnie and back to you like it's oddly specific.
Yeah, I think Sidani is mirroring that expression right now.
I mean, it's not that hard if you have a large enough sample size of the population to look at over time. You can see where some descendants come from. That's mostly for hunting.
So, what did he want?
Nothing. I just asked him what he thought about, ironically, a sculpture of the Jedi Queen. I'm not sure at all, quite honestly. I guess that was kind of why I was hoping you might know something, Venata.
No, there shouldn't be any Organas left. In a military family, I mean, who would call them that? They were the noble house of Alderaan, or a noble house, and I mean, guess they were military, but only at the end. Certainly didn't act like one. Noble to well, that's what I know anyway. It's all before any of us were born.
Well, perhaps it's a question to be pondered at a later time. I don't think we'll find out anything just by considering it.
Yeah, my best guess is hyperdrive malfunction. I once saw this holodrama happen, and the person took the long way to get to a planet. Hundreds of years past it. Anyway, that's holodrama, not. Sid just kind of goes back to chewing on a candy.
You know, Skywalker was the last member of the Organa legacy. Maybe that's what he meant when he said you ruined it?
I could be.
We? she looks around. We're actually great grandmother.
Honestly, I think you're giving him too much credit. You're letting him live rent free in your head. It's probably no one.
You're probably right, but it was just weird. I'm at least gonna take a look in the archives when we get back, and if I don't come up with anything, then I won't worry about it.
Speaking of weird, can I look around to see if we're being unduly spied upon right now? Someone's trying to watch us, because this is like 2 or 3 coincidences too many in a day.
Okay, 4 purple and a set black perception check.
Four purple and a black.
Yep.
I got keen-eyed. And just barely.
As you're looking out through the crowd, take one strain. As you're looking out through the crowd amongst the people, you see a man fitting the description of what Talia's been speaking of Gideon. You see him appears to be sipping some kind of tea at one of the stalls, but he seems to be watching you all. You don't know for sure, but that's at least how it appears.
Well, if you're so curious, we can just ask him. I mean, could just be sipping, just having a rest, but he knows a lot about you, and it looks like he wants to know more. Zero will just kind of incline her head in that direction.
Well, I'm not doing it alone, but I don't know what I would have to ask him either.
Vanada looks at Sidani as if she's doing what she wants to do.
I suppose we could, but I don't know. I really don't think it's anything to worry about all that much. So someone took an interest in you. Might be weird, but was he threatening or anything like that?
Threatening, no. But it just was off.
Then don't worry about it. After the festival, I'm sure you'll never run into him again. Although, speaking of running into someone, I have it on good authority that the Phoenix is here, and she says that to Vanada.
Yeah, I've seen him.
See, this is more what we should be looking out for.
He just he didn't want to see me. And you see her just adjust kind of the half cape on her shoulder.
See, now that is odd behavior from, truly suspicious though.
If you want, I can go look for him. What is he? Human? Give me something to work with.
He looks like the title "The Phoenix" fits him.
He has feathers.
He'll probably be up on stage later.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see him, Sarah, at some point. Thank you, though.
Zura just kind of shrug her shoulders. It's all right. Wasn't me the first time I had to track somebody down.
The first time for Sidani either. She just nods to both of you and tries to take a glance finally at the direction that Zura indicated where Gideon was.
It does innocently to food, and yeah, she'll try to sneak a glance at Gideon too.
Is he still there?
Well, so Sidani, roll a skullduggery check against 4 red and a purple.
Can I give her the assist maneuver since I knew where Gideon was last?
Yeah, that can apply to both her and Venata trying to look at him.
Alright, you both get 2 boost die. Because of
You have 2
accuracy.
ranks?
I got the Togruda's assist gives
yeah,
2
it's
boost
just a
die instead
boost.
of 1.
Gotcha. All right.
Came in hard for those boosts though.
Wow, you guys.
I think he noticed. So Venata and Sidani both try to stealthily look at him. And I'd say both think they succeeded. Even though they didn't. Sidani, you can remove 2 strain. And you can tell just by the way he shifts his movement, so it's very clear that he noticed that you have noticed him. And he is now kind of seems to be he seems to be ending his time with the tea stall as quickly as possible.
I think we scared him.
So does Talia look at this point since they said that? And it's very clear the
Yeah, I think so.
covered
Kinda
bone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys would just see him if you're watching, you would just see him like finishing his tea, getting up, starting to move a different direction than you all are. It's a fairly large festival after all.
See what I meant by weird?
Okay, yeah, a little skittish.
Well, I will say he does not move quickly or in haste. Just it's very clear you all have noticed him, so he's very methodically like, okay, I'm finishing my drink, I'm getting up, I'm leaving. There is no like rush or concern and anything like that. Just I'm no longer observing without them knowing.
Master Talia, since you're the ranking Jedi here,
Mm-hmm.
well, you and Castum, of course.
Just go, and then look at Talia.
I can try to follow after him if you'd like.
Why not?
If you'd like to, Zara. You won't hear any negatives from me. And he called me paranoid, so it's probably best if I'm not the one following him.
Paranoid by association, then. Third degree.
Well, I guess if somebody is supposed to follow him, that'll be me.
Oh, Zura and Custom both looking to follow after Gideon.
Sure.
Okay. Anyone? Yeah, and Sidani, I guess that just leaves you. Because Venata definitely isn't.
I'm not.
Yeah, okay. So Venata just says, well, 3 of us will stay at the... But here, see what the next performance is, and leave you two to be our stalker.
Don't know how I feel about that wording.
We'll just keep a loose eye. No
She
need
just
to.
she just nods, and you see her starting to look out toward the center of the pavilion, which is clearly being about to be set up for a different performance act.
I'll take after your leave, Master Castum.
I guess leading I will do. This is weird. And then goes to follow
Okay.
Gideon.
All right. As mentioned, so 4 red and a purple stealth check.
Four red and a purple.
Stealth check, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna make that just 4 red.
Okay.
Oh, good. Oh, hell yeah.
Well, you bring Zura along.
Thanks, Dice, for making up for those double despairs earlier.
Zura, you don't even have to roll. Custom's got you 2 covered. All right. So Zura and Custom begin following after Gideon, perfectly blending in and shifting and moving amongst all the various stuff at the festival. You're able to use all the flora to your advantage, kind of shifting and moving in and out of them, both of you with experience in different ways with that. So far from following him, the 2 of you would gather he has an appreciation for art.
How unexpected. Scandalous, even.
He also doesn't seem to care much about people, but he isn't like it's not a antisocial so much as just unconcerned. You know, like he sees people and he's like, okay. Like he can interact pleasantly with people, he's just not unless they interact with him, and then he's as pleasant as possible, and then
So this festival is pretty big, but is it like big enough on a galactic scale to be worth coming out for if someone's like a big art, critic or purveyor? Or okay,
because it's also only once every 10 years, so
oh, that's true.
which for even though there's a range of species for most species, it would probably only be the longer lived species, like huts and stuff, and they wouldn't find anything attractive about this festival at all. But it would only be like longer lived species that would want to miss one if it was something they were interested in. Shorter lived species would not want to miss one because it's only once every 10 years.
Is he giving all of the art relatively equal attention, or is he giving a more thorough look than others?
Stuff that's just arranged, he basically pays no mind to. It's only the stuff that has more cultural or, as he kind of described it, emotional significance. It's stuff that's actually like demonstrating or displaying something. If it's just a collection of flowers, he doesn't give it a glance.
So, Master Custom, do you think it's a coincidence that a long-lost member of Master Talia's family met her at this festival?
I so badly want to be like, there are no coincidences when it comes to the Force. But Cass is not like that. Just like, I don't believe in coincidences in these kinds of situations. Especially not only that, but for us to meet that other crew that we had experiences with. Is there anything of the art he's looking at that is in common?
Like I said, just they tend to be scenes. Like he tends to prefer scenes.
I just didn't know if they were like particular set of scenes or something.
I'd say you would notice that everything related to the Jedi Queen is looked at, but there is stuff not related to the Jedi Queen.
Okay.
So, almost anything about the Jedi Queen has to feature a scene, though, in order for people to know it's about her. So.
Since I have my combat scanner, is there a way that I could just take images of what he's looking at? That way, if somebody else with a different perspective could be like, oh, this is what he's looking at. You know what I mean?
Not everything, but I'd say you'd be able to take scans and images of some things.
Okay.
Just because you won't always have the angle, because you guys are being hidden and stealthy.
Yeah, I'm trying to sneak.
So
maybe he was just... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, eventually you would begin to head away, while following him, you would begin to head away from the festival toward kind of the outskirts, following the Purple River down to an area where there are skiffs and other things, kind of taking off and heading other places, or just leisurely going out about the river.
Tell the group where we're heading. That way they're not, you know, oh, where'd they go? I guess just keep trying to follow him, see what he's trying to do, or if he's got anywhere specific he's trying to go, or if he's just trying to keep our attention away from our friends.
You see him head out to where the skiffs are loading and unloading passengers, and you see him requesting to get on one. He appears to be requesting it to be private.
This would be an outgoing skiff to somewhere.
You're not sure if it's a skiff that's going to head down the river to a different part of Rossaswai, or if it's one of the ones that you see that are sort of leisurely kind of moving around the festival, like going on a little like exterior tour of the festival. You're not sure which it is. You
Well,
just
this
know
could be difficult.
You just know he's asking for a private one.
It is, like they said, he's not doing anything untoward, but sometimes being creepy is cause enough to warrant attention.
It's just that the familial, well, what is there of the familial bond? It's kind of concerning coming out of the blue. I'm just trying to think of how we can follow him, or if we should continue following him. Because if he's getting on a private skiff,
But she appears successful in having gotten. So you see him, you see a skiff coming up and him preparing to get on it.
Azura was just kind of looking at Caston like for just a general direction on what she should do. If he's...
well, it's not. Go ahead.
Well, if he's actually interested in Master Talia, we can just watch her, and then if he comes back, we'll know for sure.
Yeah, it's not like we can sneak onto that skiff anyway, so I guess we're going back.
The skiff he's getting on, you can see it is heading toward the area where people are watching the festival from a distance, out on the river.
Okay.
So he's not leaving.
So is it like a viewing platform or a viewing area? Like
You mean the skiff?
well,
Or-
I mean where it's headed to.
No, it's heading out, basically out onto the river where you can see ones out
okay.
there stopped, and basically people are using the skiff to watch on the river kind of more peacefully and quietly, and kind of watching the festival from there, seeing all the... You can see a view of the floats going by, for example, and stuff like that.
Is there another skiff that's going to be headed over there?
It appears that those skiffs can be obtained, yeah. They seem to be coming in and out.
Yeah, speaking of this festival and Venata and Sidani and Talia all being here and having somewhat common ancestors, like, I don't think we would know that there would be a big deal about all three of them being here, like, particularly, right?
Well,
They
but it's known to be a big deal that Venata and Sidani are here. Like, people at the festival know that they're there, and it's a big deal. Because a decent portion of the festival, it's part of their normal tradition, but it's also to honor the Jedi Queen for having saved their world decades ago during the war. And so that's part of it for them. So Talia wouldn't be known in the same way because their family lines have diverged for long enough. But yeah. But if you two wanted to get on a skiff to head out there, you just may be on it with other people unless you can arrange what he did.
How far away is he? On like the river and him and such.
Oh, by the time he's out there on the river, like the closest point to land would be quite a long distance away.
Okay. So to keep watch on him, we'd either have to get a skiff or have macro binoculars or something.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and we don't have enough reason to think that he's going to cause a problem right now, sadly, so let's just go back. My gut says to keep watching him, but my gut's not always right.
Understood. I will keep an eye on the perimeter.
As you all begin to walk back toward the festival proper, on your way past people who are heading out to the skiffs, probably for the next like events that are going on, two of you get bumped into by a kind of pale green Nautilin man who kind of looks at the two of you slightly nervously and says, "Yes, excuse me." And he kind of squints a moment at the two of you and looks a little surprised, and then shrugs his shoulders and keeps going, clearly heading down with other people toward the skiff area.
If Zura could look at Castum's eyes, if he had eyes.
It would definitely be slight confusion and concern, probably, because it's like, that wasn't an action of recognition, yet I don't recognize him. But then again, we've had an encounter with a Nautilin woman who tried to kill us. And I'm not saying all Nautilins are related, but that recognition.
Like, yeah, I mean, can we do a check to see what it was about us? Was it us just being aliens, or like a really odd pair, or possibly I just don't know, like, what set them off a little bit.
Wouldn't really be rolling against anything in particular, at least from him, so I guess it would just be I'd allow, I guess, perception against 3 purple, 2 setback, from whichever one of you wants to do it with a boost from the other, I guess.
I have 2 yellow and a green.
I also have 2 yellow and a green, and I can knock out, I think, both those setback.
Oh, okay. That solves that.
Go for it.
Yep, I can. I get a boost from Cass.
Yep.
Unfortunate.
I'd say the best you're able to determine is your appearance made him kind of mentally stop for a moment. And it has something to do with each of you, like, specifically, but not beyond that, you wouldn't really So it doesn't have anything to do with like you being a pair or some of the other stuff you suggested.
So you say like each of us specifically like
Like there was a
engaged us-
point like there was a point of recognition regarding both of you individually. Like, oh, I recognize, and then moving on.
I do not like that.
Yeah, so we're just gonna look at him like, look at Cass like, and just say, I don't know him, but he was nervous to see us, or startled, per se.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm gonna-
Noddling in the water. If he goes that way, and he does something, he slips away. We can't see him or catch him.
I'm going to calm the group and update them as to what happened of the whole following, then him that guy taking a private skiff, and the Nautilin we just encountered that gave us both pause.
Okay. Talia and Sidani, you two would be setting up with Venata to watch the next show in the pavilion. The floats have been set to kind of go around the pavilion instead of kind of kind of going through is almost what they were doing before to go with the party element. Now it's been like, okay. And you can tell that the Sky Dancer group is still there, but they'll be performing alongside kind of other people, and the music was moved into the pavilion rather be on the outside. It's now in the middle and all that kind of stuff. So you all have been kind of setting up there. And Venata is clearly looking around, hoping to see Phoenix.
And Sid is doing the same, but with Seth.
Yeah. So Talia, you would be the one answering the comm, I think.
Sure thing. Yeah, and she just kind of say like, just one more thing to add to a weird day. I'll keep it in mind. And then she'll also try and tell Venata and Sid this if she can get their attention long enough.
Yeah, you can get the attention long enough. Like, it goes in one ear and it stays. It's just she's not really, like, acknowledging.
I'll take it. I'll just relay everything that Cass said, and then repeat it again for good measure.
Okay, and as little fire starts to erupt from the center, and a few fireworks kind of shoot off, just a couple individually, just enough to kind of sparkle and get attention. Nothing crazy. It looks like things are about to begin. Music has started, at least. So, Castum and Zura, what are you doing?
Cass is definitely going to be following that guy now. That's just the coincidences of the day, and that whole I know who you guys are, but then us not knowing who he is, that's just too much of a coincidence for Cass to just let it go right now. So yeah, he's gonna follow, but we'll also note that it might be dangerous. Who knows?
Okay.
Would you like me to watch over our other friends from a distance to see if I see anything else that's strange, or would you like backup?
Keep an eye on our friends. And I guess Cass will just try to use his stealth ability to, and of course his indistinguishable, which really matters for one of the most uncommon space, alien races ever
Okay.
to hopefully get by and get close enough to keep watch. And
Well, the Nautilin appears to also be getting on one of the skiffs going out, but he's not trying to get one by himself. He's just piling in with a few others.
yeah, so Cass will pile in with.
Okay.
And
Right,
but he'll try to do it in a way that he doesn't see him come into onto the skiff, and he stays out of sight.
Yeah, you don't need to make a check for that.
Yay.
And all right, and Zura's gonna head back toward the event.
Yep, and if possible, find a higher vantage point to overlook where Venata, Sidani, and Talia are.
Okay. All right, so as you both go off to do that, and this event is about to kick off, the skies are going from a blue to purplish as the sun's setting, and the event is starting to get underway. And with a crack of another one of the fireworks, we fade back into Aethys as the crack matches with the activation of the Revenant's gold lightsaber as he jumps down from the hole in the ceiling right onto the destabilized platform where Sol currently is. We meet again, Skywalker.
Yes, but on unstable ground, it seems.
Then allow me to use you to crush my fall. And he's gonna basically run forward and body you. And to knock you, knock you down. So, what's your... are you going to attempt to avoid?
Yes.
Would you like coordination to try to dodge or athletics to try to hold him in place?
Coordination.
Okay. What is your coordination?
1 red and 3 purple. And I can remove a setback, so I don't know if that gives him 1 or not.
No. And would you normally have force dice on coordination or no?
Yeah, 2.
Okay. Those would normally add setbacks, but he can remove 2, so. He succeeds. Barely, but he succeeds. So he slams you off the side of the crumbling platform just before it's about to fall. And the two of you fall amidst the rock and rubble. His gold lightsaber positioned basically only not in any sort of strike toward you, but only to keep your lightsaber from getting toward him at all. And just as you're heading toward the ground, all the rocks falling and tumbling, do you want to do athletics or coordination to, this is a falling situation. So.
Say medium fall, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Difficulty and a setback due to how you were hit. Let me know which type you're using.
Oh, coordination. I was thinking, since it's a combat situation, it'd be better to do a tuck and roll to try to get in a balanced position to defend myself.
Okay, so you're able to turn off your lightsaber. He does so at the same time as you, and you're able to use the rubble and kind of run around it a bit as you're moving down, kind of using it to dodge and jump off of just enough to slow your descent down. Since it's a controlled fall, that removed a range band your success rather than just removing damage. So you instead take 10 wounds and 7 strain from impact, which is both soakable. And he will do the same. Except he avoids all damage, thanks to the triumph. So, you see him land, and as you're kind of doing the tucking and rolling, you're still getting hit by some rocks. He lands pretty cleanly, having done kind of a bit of a jump and then a brace to like impact in the ground, like, and you just see his body kind of take a moment to reset, and then he's up, you're on the ground, you're recovering from damage, and you understand with his lightsaber off, like, his entire goal there was just to take you out even just a little bit. He wasn't trying to kill you, wasn't trying to stab you even, just trying to avoid you for a moment. And he, as you're no longer seem to be important to him at all in any way, you see him looking out toward Rey. He doesn't even seem to care that Arcos is standing nearby. You get the impression of how little care he's giving toward Arcos, so you may not even notice Arcos there, or who he is. And Revenant just calls out, You need to leave. Now. And Rey just looks confused. And she's actually looking at Soul, you more concerned than even the Revenant, just like kind of the giving you the "Are you okay?" kind of look.
Soul's gonna use jump up whenever he's able to, just so you know.
Yeah, that would be at the start of the round technically, because you're in first slot. Kari still needs to go. Kari, throughout all this, when she jumped, she was jumping at Grumblock. She was jumping for the Gauntlet. So, Grumblock, what are your defenses?
3 defense.
Okay. So as she's basically flipping through the air down toward you, she is going to activate her double-bladed blue lightsaber and do basically kind of for a moment through the air, looking a bit like a neon saw blade as she does a brief somersaulting spin with it. And slashes down toward you. All right. Oh, I forgot force dice. Hold on.
Oh, that's fine.
Important not to forget these. Okay. well, not much activation there. You take you take 1 strain. It was part of ebb flow. Was all that was. So you take
Okay.
1 strain from the ebb flow activation. And she'll use the advantages since she missed you in her attack. She kind of had you managed to stop just in time and kind of just move just a little out of the way because she was aiming so precisely. And she lands in front of you. She slashes upward, outward. You're able to avoid her, but she is able to, with the kind of staff hilt of her saber, she is able to knock the gauntlet away from you. And it'll roll away once more. And she will use the other 2 advantages for a maneuver toward it. And now it'll be Soul's turn.
Yeah, Soul just sort of kips up and jumps to his feet and starts walking towards the Revenant. It's like, I am not so easily dismissed, Revenant.
Skywalker, this is your last warning. I am here to save you and her.
You have yet to explain yourself on how attacking us is saving us.
I told you on Tatooine. You didn't come with me, and he's clearly talking at Rey. You will be led down a dark path that will change the galaxy. Only I can help you.
Soul's giving Rey time to respond before he says anything.
I've learned to quiet my mind, to focus. Because of Soul. Your terror will have no place here. Okay. Well, she responded.
Yeah. With 2 maneuvers, could I get past Revenant to stand in front of Rey instead of getting engaged with him?
Yes.
All right, so at that, Soul's gonna take a maneuver to go past, or the maneuvers to go past him, and the action's also gonna be a maneuver as he just puts his lightsaber on his belt and just stands between them. And just looks at Revenant as like, you could work with us instead of this ultimate defiance.
You are both impulsive, unrefined. You, Skywalker, may be Jedi, but you are no master of the Force or yourself.
Yet you crash through the ceiling and tackle me off unstable ground, and I've yet to respond other than to talk. How is that impulsive? You are the impulsive one here.
I sensed conflict before I arrived.
That we settled to stop someone from reaching out for darkness. Something that your friend seems to be trying to do. She points over at the person going after the gauntlet.
Yeah. And much like what Grimlock was doing. It's now Arcos's turn, and he doesn't care whatever the hell Revenant wants. Much like the Revenant didn't care about him. Arcos is going to make leaping moves. In an attempt. Ooh. Okay. Attempt to leap to the gauntlet. He rolls in front of Carrie. Again, he doesn't understand what's going on. He just knows he's getting it back. He grabs the gauntlet, puts it on, and you would, Grimlock in particular, the others are a bit too far away to see this, you would see it has to start up again, but you see the lightning the red lightning begin to emerge back from the gauntlet and go back up his arm. And he kind of grunts to himself. You can tell it the second time probably hurts a little more than the first time, given the circumstances. And he's gonna... seems to be kind of channeling the power, but he will move out toward the two of you, and let's see. So, Grimlock, what's your athletics?
My athletics is a yellow, 2 green, and my force dice.
Succeeded on that part. He will attempt the full check. Okay, he will, with all his, like, you can tell all his strength he can muster right now, he reaches out with the force, and Grimlock, you feel yourself being immobilized as he appears to be doing a force bind. You can resist it with your ability if you want, but that will take you to
14 out of 14, I know.
Yep. But if you want to resist it, you can. Okay. Alright. And then, as for Carrie, he is definitely struggling with her. Having a much more difficult time. And as he's reaching out, clearly he is trying with his non-gauntleted hand his best to restrain and hold both of you. And she struggles, but he does succeed in holding her. for at least a moment, but fails to do anything more than that. You see just kind of mixture of confusion and rage at the situation as the gauntlet continues to kind of charge back up around his arm. And with that, Ray, we're back over to Ray, Revenant, and Soul, and Ray just... This doesn't concern you. But it does. That gauntlet is the key to a dark destiny. You pass by me. I fear it will be fulfilled. Does Soul say anything?
Yeah, Soul's going to respond and say, so you fear that Rey is going to fall to some darkness, but yet you constantly make aggressive acts. You want to force her to come with you when you... That's just going to lead to resentment for being with you. You can't teach in darkness and then expect them not to be dark themselves. You have conflicting sentiments.
Only through me can she learn balance. Ray has clearly had enough hearing about this, and she's going to try to run past to help Grumblock and with the Arcos situation. Soul, do you do anything?
No, there's not much. I mean, if Revan's not going to listen to reason, Ray's got to help Grumblock.
Okay. Speaking of Grumblock, what you doing?
The Arcos is at short range from me now, right?
No, medium. Be medium. Oh, no,
It's
yeah, you're
fine.
right, short. Actually, you were right first time, short. My bad. You're correct.
Okay. Then, with my free hand, I will raise it up and I will attempt to draw him closer.
Using bind yourself?
No, using the draw closer action. Which I
Oh,
have
the
as,
lightsaber attack. Sorry, I was
the lightsaber
confused.
attack. Yeah.
Yeah.
So reverse hopback swoop.
Reverse hop fast swoop, exactly.
Okay. Adversary 3. Defense is back down to 2.
Okay. Would it still be a It's still like a lightsaber check, isn't it? So it's still base 2 difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
To my knowledge. Yeah, it's just a normal lightsaber check.
All right. So I will use one of those light side pips to bring him a range band closer, and 2 of those light side pips to turn it into a 1 success check. Which will deal 12 damage. And then I'll activate the stun pulse for another 2 stun damage. So 14 stun damage total. And then I forgot the superior again. So there's another advantage, which I will use to recover a streak.
Right. And that's
Yep.
not breaching, however, correct?
It's not, no.
Well, the activated stun ignores it, so that makes
Yeah,
a
well,
difference.
yeah, that'll hit. I knew that would hit. So it's the 12 though. He parries the hit. Okay.
That's fine. That's more strain damage. So
Yeah. I mean, he's taking strain. I was just saying, like, he technically does not get hit by the attack, though.
okay.
So
And then I will just quickly speak to Carrie. I'll say, your quarrel is not with me. Your quarrel is with this dark sider here. Focus on the true threats.
I'm focused only on getting the chaos away.
Then
Those
I
who would
suggest you
misuse it.
start by removing this man's hand.
First, we go over to Revenant, who will attempt to immobilize Ray with Bind. He is clearly straining against it, but he's slowing her down at least. Okay. And Curry. Will agree with Grumblock to the extent of that the problem is Arcos at the moment. So she will attack at him. And so he hits. Strained from ebb flow. And she will hit him for enough for him to still be up. Should say not enough, and so he's still up. And he will crit. Which will be it, I believe it. That is not much. Right. And the ambient noise that you guys were only hearing to this point was just the faint sound of rain in the distance. Suddenly, that noise is disrupted by a loud sound, clearly of engines, as the gaps in the ceiling that Revenant and Carrie had previously jumped down from are quickly covered by what look to be Imperial troop carriers. Similarly marked, like those stormtroopers were, with the red markings, the red lines. And you see two carriers, one in each opening, and the back of them begin to open up, and you can see stormtroopers moving out. Oh, it is your turn.
Seeing that the Revenant's trying to slow Ray down, first Soul's gonna turn the Revenant as like, your vision, do when Ray falls to darkness, is the Gauntlet a key to that?
She's wearing it.
Then perhaps we can find common ground. I will train Ray for a year and you take the Gauntlet to separate them. If she still falls into conflict, I'll agree to bring her to you in a year.
Is this a truthful statement being made?
Yes. I mean, Soul cares for Ray, so if he fails at training her, then
Right.
this is a better option. But he wants time.
Yeah. Make charm check against 3 red and purple.
I'll use the whites for successes, I guess. Or advantages, might as well. Just to see if I compel him anymore to see reason.
You compel him enough to let the bind go. Like, he stops trying to restrain her and she starts running forward. You see him almost like surprised by the offer. But I'd say you delay him and confuse him at the very least. She begins moving forward again more quickly.
Yeah. My maneuver. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, he says, "I believe your words, Skywalker." But I cannot allow her to be with you any longer.
May I draw my saber in defense of them? And he points at the troopers coming from the ceiling.
He just seems so distracted by, like I said, what you said, and the moment that he, like, almost just instinctively seems to be moving away from the troopers, and with that kind of a silent agreement.
Okay, yeah. As my maneuver, I would... Well, technically I can quick draw it, but yeah. I just want to get the saber out for defense of the troopers, but I don't want him to know that I don't want him to think I'm doing it to stab him in the back or anything.
Right.
With
Yeah.
with the common that we found, no matter how limited it is.
Okay. Now it'll be Arco's turn. And he's going to unleash the gauntlet at Carrie and Grumbluck. So he has to take the more difficult target. Kari has 3 defense against a ranged attack. Does
I have the same.
since she has a calming aura, he will target her since it's technically more difficult to target her. It'll be 7 wounds. So yeah, it'll be 7 wounds and 2 strain at her. He doesn't get enough to also hit you. Lucky you.
You lucky me. I'm like dying over here.
Yeah, so you just see like a big burst of the red lightning erupt from the gauntlet and go out toward her. She is going to reflect as much of it as she can. Unlike normal unleash, this is breaching. Okay. So you see, so Grumblock, you would just see him unleash out from the gauntlet the red lightning, striking at both her dual saber and at you, but her dual saber catches more of it, and she's just trying to reflect as much of it as she can away. And then he's going to leap up away from you, all toward the closest troop transport. As he's leaping up and away to the transport, the troopers begin firing out at all of you, and as the blaster bolts rain down, that is where we will end for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time for more adventures in Destiny of the Force.
Bye.
See ya.